G'day guys, welcome back again. I'm just having a bit of a continuation from my previous red flip cup pour that didn't go as planned. My paints were a little on the thin side and I had too much paint and way too many cells and I just wasn't happy with it, so I've scraped the canvas and I'm going again. Hopefully I can get a better result this time. So using the same paints, I've got all global impasto except for this one red over here, which is a Liquitex Basics, and I actually cut that in half so I could scrape it all out. It's cadmium red deep hue, that one. That's this guy here. And I can still see lots of bubbles on top of my paint. I've only just made them really, and I don't have time to wait. It's gonna start getting dark shortly, but look how thick that is. See how it's ribboning on top? It's making a nice big mound. So that's the thickness I want. So my pouring medium is the same as the last one. It's 65% glue, 35% water. It's just a craft glue, and then in the cups I've got 1:1, except for this guy, the Liquitex Basics, 2:1, because the Liquitex Basics is much thicker than the global impasto. So these are all 1:1. The silver, because it's so thin, I did make it a little bit thicker. I put some extra silver in there, so it's probably 1 part pouring medium to 1.5 parts paint. It is quite a bit thicker, and I may just even add a little bit more. They tend to be really thin, the metallics, for some reason. That's my antique silver. It's a dark sort of gunmetal grey or pewter sort of a colour. So for some reason the metallics are always thin and you have to thicken them up. But the rest of them are 1:1. Treadmill silicone I'm using for cells, and I'm going to put in 5 drops in each except the black and the white. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last time it was just way too many cells. Wasn't happy with it. And also you may remember me saying that if I filled all my cups up, these are 200 mils, if I filled them all up, that would be 1,000 grams. And I pretty much did fill them all up, and I wasn't supposed to. I'm going to give this quite a good stirring. I only want 800 grams, so it's only about 3/4 full of these little cups, so I probably won't use all the paint. I have got 2 reds. The global red is this one here. It's sort of a little bit more of a pinky red, so I wanted 2 reds. So I'm going to put black, red, silver, white. I'm putting my white, I don't want it anywhere near the red, or that red, and I don't want it anywhere near the black. And I'm going to put a little bit more black in here. So I'm going to have black between these two, because these two are too similar. My cells won't be very defined, so I'm going to put black in between those as well. Not sure how it's going to go, it's still quite bubbly, but anyway, let's try this. Black to start with. I do want quite a lot of black in this painting, so I'm going to add probably a lot of black, and as I said, I'm going to put it between these 2 colours here, so I'll do that so I don't forget. And then this red, this is Global's Cool Red, so just drizzle some of that on. And then we have the metallic silver. There we go. And now the white. So I'm after sort of a red, black, grey, sort of a tone for the painting. Hopefully I won't get too much pink. There is white and red in here, obviously, so I'll probably get a little bit of pink, but that's okay, as long as it's mainly reds and black and grey. I'll be happy with that. And a little bit of orangey colour will show up. This is Global's Warm Red, that one. It's kind of more like a dark orange, but it's called Warm Red. Okay, go with the black again. Maybe it'll work out this time. My last two pours, for some reason, my paints just haven't been as thick as I would have liked them and wasn't that happy with the results. Now because I've just put black underneath this red, I don't want to go black again, so I think I'm going to go with the silver next. I don't want black, red, and then black. Probably a little bit too much. Okay, and then we'll do this red. And then I'll go back to the black, I guess. But then I have the problem of the white on the black. It's no real ideal way of doing it. Now I'm not going to use any more of that red. I'll leave a little bit behind. Black. Even if I only get one pass of the white, that's okay. I'm after more black in this. Hopefully I've got enough to go around. I'd have to use a different colour on my corners for this pour actually. Oops, running out of black. Scrape it all out. That's it. It's all gone. I think I'll put this one. Just move these around a little bit because that one's got a lot of black in it and this one hasn't got as much. Just do that. There we go. So we don't have a lot of black in one spot. Okay, what next? Well, I don't want to do the white, so we'll go with some orangey, the warm orange or warm red next. This middle cup's filling up. Wow, that's quite full, isn't it? Maybe I won't have any more white because I really don't want to put the white on top of this red. I'll skip that one because that one's quite full, that cup. Doesn't need any more. Move the orange away. Actually, so what I can do is I can put a little bit more of the silver on each and then finish it off with a little blob of white. That silver should just keep the white away from the red. That works, doesn't it? A little bit, in theory, although once it's all in the cup and it's all flipped over, the colours are mixing. The red and the white, the red and the white are going to mix. Can't be helped. Okay, so I'll just put a little bit of white in, just two of them, like that. They don't all have to be exactly the same, do they? Okay, and that's all. So I've got a little bit of colour left to do my corners. The other red was the cool red from Global, that one. I think I've showed you all of them now. All right, plenty of paint. Hopefully not too much. If you've got too much paint on your surface, when you start tilting it, it's kind of hard to explain, but if you've got too much on there, it's moving too much and it's not able to stretch because there's just so much on there, it's got nowhere to go, and you find you have to tilt so much off the sides to actually thin that paint out in the middle. So if you try not to have too much, you're able to stretch it out easier. Otherwise, it's just too thick in there and it doesn't go anywhere. if that makes sense. As I said, it's a bit hard to explain, but you get the general idea, don't you? Don't have too much paint on there. And it'll crack if you've got too much, and also it'll continue to move. The cells will keep spreading if you've got too much paint left on the surface. Alright, let's see if I can flip these. Oh, that one's got a bit of pink in it. Interesting colours. Which one can I... Well, this one's got about a quarter of a cup left. Let's do that. Pop it there on the corner, eh? Alright. Still got a lot of little tiny cells there. I have found that this craft glue that I use does that. When I was experimenting at the beginning of the year and I was getting these tiny little cells, I worked out that it was coming from the glue. So, tiny little bit of paint left in my cups, about 1/8 of a cup left. I don't want to use it all, I want to stretch this paint. I'm going to torch in some areas, none here, very, very lightly, because this seems to be very reactive. And I don't want to overdo it with the cells like I did on the last pour. I'd rather have some background. That was very, very, very lightly torching and heaps come up already. So, okay, I'm going to wait a minute and just see what happens. Give it a minute for those cells to come up. And I cut back on the oil this time as well. I only did 5 in 4 colours. But in saying that, that's still 20 drops of oil on this size canvas, so probably don't need that much. When I'm doing my flip cup pours in my other medium, my 321, I find that I can get away with using more oil. But in this one, where the glue is doing this here, giving me all these little white cells, I'm going to have to start cutting back on it. So it's part of an experiment really as to what you can and can't do with a new pouring medium with the glue and water. Okay, let's go. I'm not going to do the corners just yet. I'll see what happens. I might do this first, because I've got all of this to cover here and quite a big area there, so we'll do that first. So down towards you guys and zigzag. To get over the side and back. I don't want to do it all in one go, I'd rather bring it back a couple of times. Might get some of that white off there, off that corner, because it's a lot of white, isn't it? Now I can pretty much go straight down. A little bit of red maybe just on that corner there, finish that off. Okay, spin it around. Wipe my hands. I'm liking the amount of black in there. It's quite striking, that amount of black. But it's still moving really fast, my paint. It's like it's still too thin. It's just weird. All right, let's keep going with the zigzags. Do want to get a little bit off that side there. Over the edge, bring it back. Oops, not in frame anymore. Okay. Still haven't got my lovely cell shape that I wanted. I think it's still too much oil. It's just way too many cells. A lot of cells still. Let's turn that around so I can get to this corner here. But I like the pattern. I like the composition, the movement of this one. And I like how much black's in it, which is good. Happy with that. I think that's because I flip one that way and then one that way and then one that way. I've got sort of a more different look to my usual stripes that you will have seen me do. Now I'm going to torch in this hazy area here where I haven't got much happening. And that corner there. Oops, getting lots of little black ones popping up in the corner there. Much happening there? Yeah, lots. Just takes its time. Heaps of little silver ones popping up there. Lots of little silver ones. Very cute. Now I'm going to pop some more red on here. I've got some red left. And I think that'll look nice, just finishing it off that corner there, matching into the other red that's there. While I wait and see what those cells are going to do with my torching. Okay, so that corner's done, and I like the look of that. It's the red corner. Let's put some red on this corner as well. So you don't have to choose black, you can choose any corresponding colour. I wanted a red painting, so I'm quite happy to have extra red on there. I think it's better than my previous one, colour-wise. It's got a lot more red, a lot more black in it. But I'm still not happy with the cell shape. Not sure what's happening. Not sure. Still a pretty pour though, don't get me wrong. I think it is just the amount of silicone oil. It's just too much for this medium that I'm using. Just going to pop a little bit on the sides here. Oh, no, I don't want that colour. I want this colour. That's that side done. Clean off underneath. How's this side looking? A little bit just there. And oops, I'll reach over for my red. And just a tiny little bit of red on this corner as well, just to cover up that bit of blank canvas there. And there we go. Done. Clean that off. Liking those colours, really like these colours. Just not happy with the cells. Well, look at these ones, how they've grown. That was that I torched really lightly in there. I'm going to cut right back on the silicone oil. Again, I've got no background, it's just massive cells. And they're really pretty. These silver ones in here, they're really pretty cells. And they've got some really strange lacing through here. The other thing that could be doing it, giving me a finish that I'm not happy with, is the metallics. Metallics don't play nice. They do act very differently in pours. And both of these pours that I've done in the reds, I've had metallics in. So I might leave that out. I do like this grey coming through here, the metallics, but I think that it's causing my cells to maybe lose their shape a little bit. I've had that problem all along with metallics. I don't know why I would think today would be any different. So I have had that problem right from the word go. Alrighty, take you in for a close-up. But yeah, I really like the colours, like the composition. There are some really pretty cells there, but then there's also some cells that have just grown way too big and have stretched out. So I think this glue, I'm going to blame the glue. Oh, I can't get my glove off. There we go. It's off. See if I can take you in for a close-up. Oops, I'm changing the light. Don't do that. Zoom in. Zoom. Oh, goodness me. Going the wrong way. There we go. It's not all of it, but you get the idea. Just going to make sure that it's focused. I'll put my hand here, hopefully it'll focus on my hand. Sometimes when I look back on it and I think, oh, that's really blurry, it's not focused. Okay, so more experimenting to be done with reds. Reminds me of a forest, a dark forest. Yes. Okay, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next. I do want to keep going with the reds. I think I'll take the metallic out, cut down on the oil, and see if I get a better result. So I will see you for the next one. Bye for now.